The Quiet Ones. The Galactic Concordette's grand reception hall on New Venus sparkled with crystalline chandeliers and floating holograms, a testament to the advanced civilizations that called themselves the galaxy's elite. Commander Sarah Martinez adjusted her purposefully outdated uniform, making sure the synthetic fabric looked appropriately worn at the edges. She represented Earth's Interstellar Transport Division, officially just a collection of simple cargo haulers serving the greater civilizations of the Concordate. The Meridian ambassador floated past, their bioluminescent tendrils barely acknowledging her presence. Another human vessel request. They asked their companion, voice tinged with amusement. They do try so hard with their chemical engines. Sarah kept her face carefully neutral, a skill honed through years of practice. If they only knew about the quantum cores humming beneath the Jupiter shipyards, or the dimensional fold drives being tested in the Oort cloud. But that was the point. They weren't supposed to know. The real reason for today's gathering weighed heavily on Sarah's mind. The Nexer swarm's activities at the galaxy's edge had increased dramatically over the past 3 months. While the Concordate's leadership debated diplomatic approaches, humanity's deep space sensors, disguised as primitive radar arrays, had already detected the massive fleet movements. Commander Martinez, a synthesized voice chimed. She turned to face Ambassador Zix 427, their crystalline form refracting the reception hall's light into rainbow patterns. Earth's quarterly transport report is due. We trust your vessels maintain their modest but reliable service record. Sarah bowed slightly. Another calculated gesture. Yes, Ambassador. Though we lost 2 ships to drive failures in the Orion sector. A lie, but a necessary one. Those ships had actually been testing a new form of quantum camouflage, their disappearance carefully staged to maintain humanity's image of technological incompetence. Unfortunate, Zix 427 hummed. Perhaps if you'd accept our offered drive upgrades. Most generous, Sarah replied, but our engineering teams struggle with maintaining even basic antimatter containment. We wouldn't want to risk more advanced systems. The truth was that Earth's antimatter production facilities in the Kuiper Belt could power the entire Concordate fleet 10 times over. The reception's peaceful atmosphere shattered as emergency holograms blazed to life throughout the hall. A Meridian battle captain's face appeared, their bioluminescence pulsing with alarm patterns. Priority alert to all Concordate worlds. The Nexer swarm has breached the Carina defense line. 3 colony worlds are already dark. They bypassed our most advanced sensor networks like they weren't even there. Sarah's quantum neural implant, disguised as a simple comm unit, buzzed with encrypted updates. The swarm's numbers were far greater than even humanity's intelligence had predicted. They would reach major Concordate worlds within days. The hall erupted in chaos. Representatives from a dozen advanced civilizations began shouting over each other, their carefully maintained diplomatic facades cracking. Only the humans present remained calm, their practiced expressions of concern masking years of preparation for exactly this scenario. All transport vessels will be requisitioned for evacuation efforts, Zix 427 announced, their crystalline form vibrating with stress patterns. Commander Martinez, we know your ships are basic, but their cargo capacity will be needed. Sarah nodded gravely. Of course, Ambassador. Though I should warn you that our chemical drives will make for slow evacuation runs. Another careful deception. Those chemical drives concealed quantum fold engines that could cross the galaxy in days. Her implant buzzed again. Operation Shadow Veil was moving to Phase 2. Throughout human space, hidden shipyards were awakening. Massive vessels, their existence concealed for decades by dimensional shifting technology, prepared to emerge. The carefully crafted image of humanity as the galaxy's humble cargo haulers was about to shatter. Commander, her XO's voice whispered through the implant. Deep Space Platform Omega reports the swarm's numbers are triple initial estimates. The Concordate's forces, they won't last a week. Sarah watched the panicking ambassadors, these representatives of civilizations that had looked down on humanity for so long. Soon they would understand why Earth had spent 50 years pretending to be weak, why they had endured the contempt and condescension while building something in secret that would reshape the galaxy's balance of power. "Signal all human vessels," she subvocalized. "Begin evacuation protocols. Maintain emergence protocols until absolutely necessary." She paused, then added, "And notify Admiral Chen that Operation Shadow Veil is now active." As she left the reception hall, Sarah caught fragments of conversation from a group of Meridian officials. "At least the humans can be useful as evacuation ships," one said. "Their primitive vessels are too basic for the swarm to even bother with." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Let them think that. Let them believe humanity's ships were primitive cargo haulers until the moment they saw what was hidden beneath those battered hulls. The deception had been necessary. Humanity's analysts had predicted this crisis decades ago. While the Concordat grew complacent in their technological superiority, Earth had prepared. Beneath the ice of Europa, inside the storms of Jupiter, and hidden in the dimensional shadows of the asteroid belt, humanity's true fleet waited. Ships that would make the Concordat's most advanced vessels look like ancient solar sailors. Weapons developed in secret that could reshape space itself. And crews who had trained for years, maintaining the galaxy's greatest deception while preparing for the moment when humanity would finally show its true strength. The Nexer swarm thought they were attacking a galaxy of separate civilizations, some advanced, some primitive. They were about to learn just how wrong they were about humanity's place in that hierarchy. But for now, Commander Sarah Martinez straightened her intentionally shabby uniform and headed for her simple cargo ship, playing her part in humanity's greatest deception for what would likely be the last time. "All ships, maintain emergence protocols," she transmitted as she boarded. "The time for hiding is almost over." Whispers in the dark. The Concordat's primary defense fleet died in silence. Their quantum-shielded vessels, pride of 5 different species' military might, vanished in bursts of radiation as the Nexer swarm's weapons ignored their most advanced defenses. Sarah watched from the bridge of her supposedly outdated cargo hauler as the massacre unfolded. "Status of evacuation vessels?" she asked, maintaining the slow, careful speech patterns expected of a human captain wrestling with primitive technology. 37% of civilians loaded, her XO reported through their neural link. The Concordat's targeting systems are having trouble with the swarm's stealth tech. They never saw this coming. But humanity had. Their deep space sensors, disguised as simple radio telescopes, had been tracking Nexer ship movements for years. Every engagement, every battle tactic had been analyzed and countered in simulation after simulation. A Meridian battlecruiser exploded nearby, its death throes illuminating the bridge. The ship's captain, who had once mockingly called human vessels space-worthy scrap heaps, broadcast a final desperate plea. "Any ships in range? Please, we have thousands of civilians." "Taking this in," Sarah announced, both to her crew and the General Command channel. "Though our chemical drives will make this a slow approach." Her hands danced across controls that were far more sophisticated than they appeared, engaging quantum stabilizers disguised as basic inertial dampeners. "Commander," her tactical officer warned through the neural net, 3 Nexer vessels on intercept course. "Their weapons are hot." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Maintain emergence protocols. Let's show them how a primitive cargo hauler handles itself." The Nexer ships, their crystalline hulls gleaming with stolen energy, fired a barrage of quantum-tipped missiles. To the Concordat sensors, it looked like the human vessel was attempting a clumsy, evasive pattern. In reality, Sarah's ship was executing a precisely calculated dance through 11 dimensions of space-time. Every missed shot, every lucky dodge, had been choreographed decades in advance by human strategic A's. The Nexer, like the Concordat, would see only what humanity wanted them to see, a primitive species somehow surviving through luck and sturdy engineering. Approaching the Meridian vessel, her helm officer reported. Their hull integrity is critical. The neural net hummed with encrypted updates. Similar scenes were playing out across Concordat space. Human cargo ships arriving just in time to evacuate civilians from dying warships. Each rescue carefully calculated to maintain humanity's deception while gathering critical combat data on Nexer capabilities. Multiple hull breaches detected, Tactical reported as they maneuvered alongside the Meridian ship. Their life support is failing. Sarah opened a channel. Meridian vessel, this is Earth Transport Sierra 9. Beginning emergency docking. Please bear with our slow approach. The practiced stumble in her speech masked the fact that her ship's quantum computers were already calculating optimal evacuation routes. The Meridian captain's voice was strained. Sierra 9, we have 3,000 civilians aboard. Your cargo capacity. We'll make it work, Sarah interrupted, allowing genuine determination to color her voice. Humans are good at fitting things into small spaces. As the evacuation began, Sarah received a priority update through her neural implant. Operation Shadow Veil was accelerating. The Nexer's advance was faster than even humanity's models had predicted. Soon, maintaining the deception would cost more lives than it saved. Commander, her XO's voice was tight with controlled excitement. Deep Space Platform Delta reports the Nexer have penetrated the Carina defense line completely. The Concordat's outer colonies are dark. Sarah nodded slowly. The Nexer's victory here would be their undoing. In their arrogance, they had ignored the seemingly primitive human vessels scattered throughout their conquest zone. Those ships were now gathering unprecedented data on Nexer tactics, weapons, and vulnerabilities. All civilians aboard, her deck officer reported, though we had to get creative with life support allocation. The Meridian captain's voice crackled through the comm. Sierra 9, thank you. I apologize for my previous comments about human vessels. Your people's courage. Just doing our job, Captain, Sarah cut in, maintaining her role. Though we'll be slow getting to safe harbor. Chemical drives, you understand. As her ship moved away from the dying Meridian vessel, Sarah received another neural update. Throughout human space, hidden shipyards were going to full production. Weapon systems tested in secret for decades were being armed. And in the dimensional shadows of the Oort cloud, humanity's real fleet was assembling. One more week, she sub-vocalized to her crew through the neural net. Maintain emergence protocols until then. Let the Nexer think they've met only token resistance. She paused, watching another Concordat battle group die against the relentless swarm. Let them think humanity is nothing but lucky survivors with primitive ships. They'll learn the truth soon enough. Her tactical officer's voice held barely contained anticipation. The 7th Fleet reports ready, Commander. Primary weapon systems are green. Operation Shadow Veil enters final phase on your command. Sarah allowed herself another small smile as she guided her simple cargo ship through the debris field of what had been the Concordat's greatest fleet. The Nexer swarm was about to learn why humanity had spent 50 years pretending to be weak. The galaxy was about to change forever. Signal all vessels, she transmitted through the neural net. One more week of deception. Then we show them what humanity can really do. The hidden fleet. The Kuiper Belt had always been more than a collection of icy debris at the edge of human space. Behind dimensional veils and quantum shields, it had served as humanity's greatest shipyard for half a century. Now, as Commander Sarah Martinez's ship approached, those veils began to lift. All personnel, prepare for emergence protocols, she announced through the neural net. Her cargo vessel shimmered as its outer hull began to reconfigure, decades of deception falling away like shed skin. The ship's true form emerged, sleek, dark, and bristling with weapons that the Concordat scientists would have claimed were impossible. Similar transformations were happening across human space as the facade of primitive technology crumbled. Status update from Earth Command. Her XO reported. The Nexer have pushed past the Perseus arm. The Concordat's remaining fleets are in full retreat. Civilian casualties. He paused. In the millions. Sarah's jaw tightened. No more hiding. Signal the Kuiper yards. Begin full emergence. Space itself seemed to twist as the dimensional veils dropped. Where the Concordat sensors had detected only ice and rock, vast shipyards appeared. Vessels larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen hung in precise formation. Humanity's true fleet. "Ma'am," her tactical officer called out. "Incoming transmission from Admiral Chen." Priority 1. The Admiral's hologram appeared on the bridge, her expression grim. "Commander Martinez, your ship will lead the first strike group. The Nexer think they've pushed us to the edge of human space. They're about to learn they're exactly where we want them." Sarah nodded. "The 7th Fleet is ready, Admiral. Though we may shock our Concordat allies almost as much as our enemies." "They'll adapt," Chen replied. "They don't have a choice. Operation Shadow Veil ends now. Show them what humanity can really do." As the Admiral's hologram faded, Sarah turned to her crew. No more pretending to be primitive cargo haulers. No more hiding their true capabilities. 50 years of deception were about to pay off. "All hands," she announced. "Battle stations. Disengage all camouflage systems. Bring quantum drives to full power. Deploy Mark VI hybrid weapons." Her ship's transformation completed, revealing its true nature. The battered hull now gleamed with advanced alloys that could heal themselves. The chemical engines gave way to quantum drive arrays that could fold space itself, and the cargo holds opened to reveal rows of weapons that combine the best of human ingenuity with 50 years of secretly studied alien technology. Through the viewports, Sarah watched other ships emerging from their disguises. Hundreds, then thousands of vessels, each one a testament to humanity's patience and preparation. Supply ships became dreadnoughts. Survey vessels transformed into carriers. Even the smallest human ships revealed hidden strengths. "Multiple Concordat vessels approaching," Tactical reported. "They're confused by our sensor signatures. Open a channel," Sarah ordered. "Time to introduce ourselves properly." The face of a Meridian captain appeared, the same one they'd rescued earlier. His bioluminescence pulsed with shock as he took in the transformed bridge. "Sierra 9. What are we seeing?" "This is the UES Hyperion," Sarah replied, using her ship's true name for the first time in years. "Those cargo holds you mocked. They were full of quantum-enhanced warheads. Those chemical drives, dimensional fold engines. Humanity has been preparing for this war since before the Concordat knew it was coming." "Impossible," the Meridian captain whispered. "Your technology. We've seen your shipyards, your factories. You saw what we wanted you to see," Sarah explained. "Every failed attempt to adopt Concordat technology was calculated. Every primitive design was a cover. Did you never wonder why our simple ships survived battles that destroy your advanced vessels? Why our outdated sensors always seemed to work when yours failed?" Before the Meridian could respond, new alarms blared. "Nexer fleet detected," Tactical announced. 300 ships approaching from the Perseus arm. Sarah allowed herself a predatory smile. "Perfect. Signal all vessels. Operation Shadow Veil is complete. Engage at will. Show them why humanity spent 50 years pretending to be weak." The human fleet moved with devastating precision. Ships that had played the role of lumbering cargo haulers now danced through space with impossible agility. Weapons that had been developed and tested in secret for decades finally revealed their true power. The Nexer's initial assault faltered as their sensors tried to make sense of what they were facing. Where their intelligence had shown scattered human outposts with primitive defenses, they now faced the largest and most advanced fleet the galaxy had ever seen. Multiple Nexer vessels attempting to retreat, Tactical reported with satisfaction. "Their quantum signatures are destabilizing." "Not this time," Sarah ordered. "All ships, execute containment pattern Delta. Don't let them warn the main fleet. Let them come to us thinking we're still primitive cargo haulers. That deception cost us 50 years of pride. Make sure it was worth it. As her fleet engaged the enemy ships, Sarah sent a final message through the neural net to all human vessels. The time for hiding is over. Show them what humanity can do, and we stop pretending to be weak. The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries as the day the galaxy learned the truth about humanity's primitive technology. But for now, Commander Sarah Martinez had a 50-year deception to pay off and a very surprised enemy to defeat. Thunder breaks. The Nexer swarm had never known defeat. Their crystalline ships had cut through the most advanced Concordat defenses like paper, their weapons had shattered planetary shields, and their strategies had outmaneuvered the finest military minds in known space. But they had never faced humanity's true fleet. Multiple Nexer capital ships advancing, Tactical reported. They're adapting their formation. They've realized we're not what we seemed. Sarah watched the enemy fleet's movements on her quantum-enhanced display. Too late for them to adapt now. Signal all ships. Execute Battle Plan Omega. Let's show them what 50 years of preparation looks like. The human fleet moved with devastating synchronization. Ships that had masqueraded as clumsy cargo haulers now performed maneuvers that should have been physically impossible. The primitive vessels split into smaller attack groups, their true capabilities finally unleashed. Nexer command ship is broadcasting. Communications announced. They're demanding our surrender. Sarah allowed herself a grim laugh. Put them through. The Nexer commander's crystalline form shimmered on the main display. Human vessels, your deception is noted but futile. Submit to the swarm, or be. I don't think you understand the situation. Sarah interrupted. Those civilian evacuation runs we've been doing. Every single one was gathering tactical data on your weapons and defenses. Every retreat was planned. Every loss was calculated. We've been studying you for decades. The Nexer commander's crystalline structure flickered with what might have been uncertainty. Your species is primitive. We have seen your worlds, your technology. You've seen what we wanted you to see, Sarah countered. Those cargo ships you ignored. They were mapping your fleet movements. Those outdated sensors. They were analyzing your weapon signatures. Even now, you don't understand what you're really facing. As if to emphasize her point, the first wave of human ships engage. Weapons that had been developed and tested in secret for half a century finally revealed their true power. Quantum phase torpedoes phased through the Nexer's supposedly impenetrable shields. Dimensional shear beams turned their crystalline hulls against them. Ma'am, Tactical called out. The Nexer are attempting to adapt their shield frequencies. Let them try, Sarah ordered. Execute attack pattern Theta 9. The human fleet's formation shifted, demonstrating a level of coordination that left both their enemies and allies stunned. Ships moved in perfect synchronization, their actions guided by neural networks and quantum computers that had been disguised as primitive targeting systems. Concordat vessels are requesting permission to join the attack, communications reported. Sarah nodded. Send them targeting data. Show them how to adapt their weapons to our attack patterns. It's time we all fought together. The battle unfolded like a deadly dance. Every Nexer adaptation was met with a counter that had been prepared years in advance. Every tactical shift they attempted had already been predicted and planned for by human strategists. Nexer fleet is showing signs of disarray, Tactical announced with satisfaction. Their command and control structure is breaking down. Sarah watched as another wave of human ships engaged, their true forms now fully revealed. The battered hulls and crude weapons were gone, replaced by technology that represented the true peak of human innovation. They're trying to retreat, her XO reported. Multiple ships attempting quantum jumps. Not this time, Sarah commanded. Deploy the quantum anchor fields. They don't get to run and warn the rest of their fleet. Not when we're finally showing our true strength. The space around the battlefield warped as hidden human technologies activated. Quantum anchor fields, developed in secret and tested in the depths of human space, prevented any escape. The Nexer fleet was trapped, facing an enemy they had fatally underestimated. All ships, Sarah broadcast across the fleet channels. Execute final attack pattern. Show them exactly why humanity spent 50 years pretending to be weak. The human fleet move is one. Their coordinated attack overwhelming the Nexer's defenses. Ships that had played at being primitive now demonstrated power that redefined what was possible in space combat. Nexer command ship is showing critical damage, tactical reported. Their fleet cohesion is collapsing. Sarah opened a channel to the enemy commander one last time. You should have looked closer. You should have wondered why our primitive ships always seemed to survive. Why our outdated technology never quite failed. This is humanity's true face, and you're about to understand why we hid it for so long. The final phase of the battle was swift and decisive. The Nexer fleet, trapped and outmaneuvered, broke apart under the combined assault of human and Concordat forces. Their crystalline ships, once thought invincible, shattered under weapons they had never known existed. As the last enemy vessel fell silent, Sarah received a priority transmission from Admiral Chen. Well done, Commander. The Nexer main fleet will be here within days. And thanks to your battle group's performance, they'll come expecting to face primitive cargo ships. Phase 2 of Operation Shadow Veil begins now. Sarah nodded, looking out at her fleet, humanity's true fleet, as it regrouped for the next battle. Understood, Admiral. The galaxy's about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon was never our technology. It was our patience. New dawn. The Nexer main fleet arrived exactly as humanity's strategic AI had predicted. Their massive crystalline ships tore through space with arrogant confidence, expecting to find scattered remnants of primitive resistance. Instead, they found themselves facing the full might of humanity's hidden power. All ships, battle stations, Sarah commanded from the bridge of the Hyperion. The Nexer think they're here to end this war. They're right, just not in the way they imagine. The combined human Concordat fleet hung in perfect formation. The advanced alien races that had once looked down on humanity now fought alongside them, their tactics and technologies integrated into battle plans 50 years in the making. Nexer fleet is broadcasting. Communications reported. System-wide transmission. The Nexer High Commander's image appeared on every ship's display. Your deception is impressive, humans, but futile. You have merely delayed the inevitable. The swarm. Let me stop you there. Sarah interrupted, her voice carrying across all channels. You still don't understand what's really happening. This isn't just a reveal of our true technology. This is the culmination of the longest military operation in human history. She gestured, and new sensor data flooded the tactical displays. Throughout Nexer-controlled space, seemingly abandoned human outposts were activating. Quantum beacons, hidden in plain sight for decades, began disrupting the swarm's neural network. Those civilian stations you ignored. Sarah continued. Their weapon platforms. Those mining operations. Forward bases. Every time you conquered a system and left those primitive human facilities intact, you were helping us surround you. The Nexer commander's crystalline form vibrated with rage. Impossible. Our intelligence was exactly what we fed you. Sarah finished. Humanity didn't just hide its true strength. We spent 50 years building a trap, and you just flew your entire fleet into it. As if on cue, the quantum beacons activated. The Nexer's complex command network, the source of their military superiority, began to fragment. Ships that had operated with perfect synchronization suddenly found themselves isolated and alone. All vessels, Sarah broadcast, execute final protocol. Show them everything we've been holding back. The human fleet moved with deadly grace. Ships that had only recently shed their disguise as cargo haulers now demonstrated the full extent of their capabilities. Weapons that redefined the laws of physics tore through the Nexer's disorganized formations. Multiple Nexer vessels attempting emergency jumps, tactical reported. The quantum anchor net is holding. Sarah nodded grimly. No escape this time. The swarm ends here. The battle that followed would reshape galactic civilization. Human vessels, their true power finally unleashed, fought with 50 years of pent-up fury. Every tactic, every weapon, every strategy had been refined through decades of secret preparation. Nexer command structure is collapsing, her XO announced. Their fleet cohesion is breaking down completely. The Meridian captain whose ship they had rescued weeks earlier sent a private transmission. Commander Martins, I never imagined. Why did your people hide this power for so long? Sarah watched as another wave of Nexer ships fell to humanity's advanced weapons, because we remembered something that the rest of the galaxy had forgotten. True strength isn't about showing power. It's about knowing when to hide it. The final phase of the battle was devastating. The Nexer fleet, cut off from their command network and faced with technology they had never imagined possible, broke apart under the combined assault. Their crystalline ships, once thought invincible, shattered like glass against humanity's true might. As the last enemy vessels fell silent, Sarah received a final transmission from Admiral Chen. Operation Shadow Veil is complete, Commander. After 50 years, humanity can finally stop pretending. Sarah looked out at the battlefield, where human ships now flew proudly alongside their Concordat allies. The facade of primitive technology was gone, replaced by the true face of human innovation and power. Send word to Earth, she ordered. Tell them it's done. Tell them humanity can finally show the galaxy who we really are. In the days that followed, the true scope of humanity's deception came to light. Hidden shipyards emerged from dimensional shadows. Research facilities that had masqueraded as primitive factories revealed technologies that redefined what was possible. The species that had been dismissed as barely space-capable proved to be the most advanced civilization in known space. The Concordat will need to be reorganized, the Meridian ambassador admitted during the victory celebration. Humanity's position, everything we thought we knew, has changed, Sarah finished. But maybe that's for the best. The galaxy needed to learn that true strength isn't about showing power. It's about knowing when to hide it, when to reveal it, and most importantly, how to use it wisely. As she stood on the observation deck of the Hyperion, watching the combined fleet prepare for the final cleanup operations, Sarah reflected on the 50-year deception that had saved the galaxy. Humanity had sacrificed pride for preparation, endured contempt for the sake of survival, and emerged stronger than anyone had imagined possible. The age of pretending to be weak was over. The age of humanity's true power had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.